You might think a drink is just what you find in a glass. But a great drink is so much more than that. Better than anything else, they help people come together in a variety of ways. And finding the people and stories behind a drink can be both fun and fascinating. Now, some of you might be wondering why I'm so keen to tell you about all of these things. And it's not just because I love a drink. Well, my name's Ryan Chaffee-Wardner, and I'm also known as Mr. Lyan. And although I'm super proud of the success we've had, it gets a little awkward shouting about it. So the producers have kindly asked me to tell you the following. I've been working in the drinks industry for over 20 years and have been named the world's best bartender. I now own bars across the globe, including Lioness, which recently was named world's best bar. I've also been included in the top 100 modern Britons by British Airways, won Time Out's Person of the Decade, and also have been named the world's most influential bar personality. Is that okay, guys? In this series, I'm going to teach you how to drink, what to drink, and where to drink, in different cities all across the world. I'll introduce you to some of the pioneers driving the industry forwards, and I'm also going to teach you some insider tips, including how to make delicious things for your friends. Big love, pals.
We love you, Ryan.
This show isn't about overindulging in booze, but becoming more knowledgeable about the stuff that passes our lips. So we're done with the formalities. Let's crack on with the show. Cheers. We're in Japan, a country that seamlessly blends the old and the new, from ancient castles to the bright lights, or from traditional sumo to karaoke. However, as comical as my rendition of Marvin Gaye is, I'm not here to entertain the crew. I'm here to learn about the amazing food and drink scene here in Japan. And I'm starting my trip here in Kyoto, a beautifully serene ancient city filled with history and traditions. Locals call it a place of learning and creation, which is perfect because I'm here to discover all of the delicious things that are created here. So without further ado, let's tuck in. Kanpai. Kyoto is the most beautiful city in the world, and the way that it manages to still kind of retain this incredible old world charm, it becomes this wonderful kind of window into old Japan. Behind me is Nishiki Market, also known as Kyoto's Kitchen. And for over 400 years, people have been flocking from far and wide to discover what's here. As I've just touched down in Japan, I'm keen to warm up my taste buds with some local flavors.
Hey!
Hello!
Hello, nice to meet you!
Ryan.
I'm Hikaru, nice to see you!
Pleasure. Very excited. So Hikaru, we're here in Nishiki Market. It's
Yes.
bustling, like there's so much energy to it. And I understand that this is a place where you can try some of the kind of local specialities.
Yeah, exactly. As you may know, Kyoto is really specialized with the fermented products and all kinds of like fish. I would say one of the famous and the popular products that you can try here is the yuba cream croquette.
Let's do some yuba croquettes then.
Yes, perfect! Okay, so here you go. So this
it's
is
beautiful
the yuba cream
packaging
croquette.
as well.
Yeah, it is.
And it's very important we don't walk down the market with food, is that correct?
That's right. Japanese people have been taught the importance for just staying at some point and then just have a good posture to eat something. So that's said to be like the most polite form.
So I've got to have my
this.
posture right as well.
Also, yeah, but take it easy because it's not going to be very hard thing. So
Okay.
yes.
Whilst tasting my way around the market, one thing that strikes me is just how stripped back some of the dishes are, with sometimes only 1 or 2 ingredients in each. However, sometimes those 2 ingredients are quite surprising. Well, what we have here is a small little octopus with the brain being replaced with some quail's egg, so boiled quail's egg. It's very unusual for us to have things so presented as the creature.
And how is it?
Oh, it's very delicious.
Oh, really? Nice.
So this is a must try.
It's a must try, exactly.
It's been incredible going through Nishiki Market, not only to be able to understand some of these wonderful, really historic foods, but to also see the approach of simplicity. Now, I'm keen to taste something that the Japanese have refined into some of the best in the world. I'm going to try some Japanese whiskey, and I'm going to travel there in true Japanese style. Japanese whiskey has exploded in popularity over the last decade, alongside the appreciation for Japanese culture and craftsmanship the world over.
Thank you, thank you. Rickshaw coming. お気にありがとうございます。
Now, you might not know this, but Japanese whiskey underwent big changes over the last few years with the introduction of new labeling standards that went into full effect in 2024. Prior to this, there were very limited rules and regulations, allowing many distillers to label their products as Japanese whiskey. The new standards now require to be labeled as Japanese whiskey, the products must use malted grains and be fermented, distilled, aged, and bottled in Japan, and using only water from a Japanese source. Also, it has to be aged in wooden casks for at least 3 years within Japan. Makes sense? These guidelines ensure much higher quality and preserve the distinctiveness of authentic Japanese whiskey. Need for speed. Suntory is not only exporting 100% authentic Japanese whiskey, but it's also the founding house within Japanese whiskey. With over 100 years of heritage dating back to 1923, where Shinjiro Tori founded the Yamazaki Distillery, making it Japan's first malt whiskey distillery. Shinji-san, great to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Right.
Please.
Welcome, Yamazaki.
Thank you. Very, very excited to be able to be here. So why was the Yamazaki Distillery founded here? It was very famous for its water, was that correct?
Yes, indeed. It's good water and good climate as well.
Okay.
Our founder, he started distilling here.
Yes.
1929, he launched the first product, but it didn't sell well, unfortunately. Most first product was too smoky and too strong for Japanese palate, I believe.
So it was really then about making a more Japanese style whiskey.
Yeah. So since then, always we pursued, our quality to meet Japanese palate.
Amazing. I want to learn more about Suntory's world-renowned productions. It smells so good.
Okay.
So Shinji-san, we're in a beautiful warehouse.
Thank you.
And although it looks like other traditional warehouses we might have seen, smells very different.
Right.
So what is it about Japanese whiskey, and in particular Suntory whiskey, that makes it so different?
Nature is different, in particular water and climate. So Japanese water is always very clear, very clean, very soft. We think such kind of water can distill very delicate and soft spirit.
Right.
But nature-wise, climate, we had a very hot, humid summer and very cold, dry winter. So this would be accelerate maturation. And we believe, so people also give us some influence on our quality.
A huge amount. What I love about Japanese craftsmanship is that while it respects traditions and its history, it's always striving to innovate.
Kaizen is a good terminology for our philosophy of production. Consistency is very important. However, if we have any opportunity to make something better, better means that something better quality, something better productivity, something better cost saving.
Yeah, and I suppose as well, there's, we can see it in the barrels, but when we were walking through the still house, there's this kind of real diversity of still shapes. There's no still house that looks like that in the world. Right. I mean, it's a beautiful kind of theater, but also then to kind of understand that that's creating all of these different flavors.
作り分け means that the diversity of making. So from blender's point of view, I would like to use different type of whiskey to create a good blend. So we had to make different type of whiskey for blending purpose. So shape of the pot cellars and type of casks, even yeast, such kind of combination can create different type of whiskey.
So actually your diversity is huge, and that's why there's so much complexity going into the whiskeys.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and it's very evident. And there's clearly not only all of that experimentation with, the development of the whiskey, but in the wood types as well. And it all kind of really plays into the signature profile of Yamazaki as a style. Any great spirit wants to reflect its raw material, and every spirit comes through clear off the still. Now the beauty is, with maturation, you're transforming that spirit, not only are you adding in color, but you also start to develop these other sets of flavors that really come from that interplay between this combination of the spirit's character and this evolution that happens when it ages in woods. So it might be an American oak, or it might end up being from a European oak. But the beautiful thing that Shinji-san also has is Mizunara casks. And this is a very different profile of wood. It's a native oak to Japan. There's something about it that has a hint of smoke. It has this wonderful kind of rich characteristic. So by being able to use different types of wood, different size barrels, Shinji-san is able to create this real wide variety of spirits. From the art of blending whiskey, the harmony with nature and the surroundings, to the elite level of Japanese craftsmanship, everything is so considered. We look at all of these details. The design is so beautiful, and it's very much here in the bottles as well. You know, I think these are so iconic in terms of their design, and it's so evident having been able to spend some time with you and go through the distillery and understand all of those points of difference, but it's also reflected in how does it come together as a final package.
Not only the liquid, but also that we think always the details and the precise way.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a kind of a Japanese culture.
It's beautiful. At the end of my trip in Japan, I'm going to make a cocktail inspired by my time here, using ingredients and techniques that I've picked up along the way. Shinji-san has kindly gifted me a bottle of Hibiki Japanese Harmony, which will form the base of my cocktail. But now I want to look at another very Japanese ingredient to add to it. I'm going to a traditional Shoyu brewery. Shoyu is the traditional seasoning used in Japanese cuisine and served alongside your sashimi, as you would what we might know as soy sauce. This is the true seasoning and the kind of heart of so much within Japanese cuisine. Rather than some of the more industrialized processes, the real stuff is made in these beautiful kind of cedar vats and really kind of pulls out the true flavor of what kind of traditional Japanese shoyu should be. It smells beautiful in here. How long have you been here?
1879年からやってます。一応5代目をやってますけど、まだまだ修行中で4代目半みたいな感じですね。
Amazing. And I've been learning as we've been traveling through Japan, it's a focus on great ingredients, but it's getting the best from those ingredients instead of adding lots of things.
そうですね。昔ながらのやり方等々も、やってるっていうのを、最大の特徴にはしてるんですけども、やってみますか?
Oh, please. Going down?
Yes, down.
Oh, not too much.
お醤油の、木桶を使ってるののいいところっていうのは、いい醤油のもろみが出来上がると、その菌が住み着くんですね。で、それでいい醤油がまたできるっていう、そういうところがあるのと。
And fermentation not only kind of creates some of these incredible flavors, and it's also a probiotic. It's very good for us to be eating fermented foods. That's a big part of Japanese culture, is that right?
ね、はい。とても美容と健康にはいいって言われてます。
Sawai-san gifted me this beautiful shoyu. It's such a wonderful kind of indicative product of old traditions of Japan. It's going to be a great way to pay homage to the country and the culture through a cocktail. It's been incredible to meet these wonderful craftspeople that are working to balance the history and the culture of Japan, but also to look to continually improve it as the world evolves around them. It's this idea of continually looking to refine and pass that on to the next generation. So I'm really excited to go from the reflective nature of Kyoto and dive into the big lights and the loud sounds of Tokyo. It's been a long trip, but we're finally in Tokyo. I've got a super busy few days ahead, and the crew have warned we've got some early starts tomorrow. So I figured it's a good opportunity. Head down, feet up, have a nice, good night's sleep before we kick off tomorrow. In Japan, fruit is a very special commodity and something that is customary to give as a gift to somebody. Now, these aren't your run-of-the-mill Granny Smith apples. Japanese fruit farmers are creating some of the most prized fruits in the world, which are going to make a great addition to my cocktail. Now, these might seem crazy. This is, almost a $5 for a single apple. But the weight of this, the beauty of it, you can tell in the sheen that this is going to be a perfect apple. But the smell on these is unbelievable. It ripens on the tree rather than kind of being picked too early like we get in some other parts of the world. Sometimes it's kind of imported fruit styles. So even if it might be a fruit we know from abroad, like the mango or a kiwi, they end up being kind of put through the Japanese lens in this kind of wonderful manner. And this is, these beautiful display boxes. They're like jewels sitting there. Not only do they look pristine, but as soon as you bite into them, they explode with this incredibly condensed flavor. 100-pound melons, you've got bunches of grapes hitting a good 50 quid. So these aren't cheap things to be able to enjoy, but they are worth the value. These aren't things that are just bling. They're delicious because they have had so much kind of care and attention put into them, and they kind of warrant these price tags, even though it is an incredibly expensive thing to enjoy. And it really kind of ties back into that kind of Japanese sense of care. A lot of these things became gifts because they didn't impose on your home. It wasn't giving you a lamp that you had to bring out every time that friend came round because they gifted you this hideous thing that you now feel obliged to display in your house. You had these fruits that felt so special, so considered, but they had this beautiful transience to it. There's something kind of magical in that. So gifts, things to enjoy, this is some of the best you can get in the world. It's time for a drink, and I'm going to see an old friend and mentor of mine. Ueno-san was a judge when I first won Bartender of the Year. He's a fully fledged legend of the Japanese bartending scene. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Dearest
Good to
Ueno-san,
see you.
great to see you.
Please have a seat.
Always so happy to be back here at Bar High Five.
Yeah, always happy to welcome you back.
Thank
here.
you. Maybe I could kick off with a white lady.
Why not?
Perfect. Did you always have in mind the concept for what your bar and what you wanted it to be?
Yeah, the concept of this bar is no concept.
Yeah.
It's my, it's my concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like every time I've been here to be hosted is so special. And that's it's a big part of the kind of hospitality culture.
It's normal to serve something the customer asked.
Yeah.
But the omotenashi is the thing, do something before they ask.
Ah, beautiful. That's the true heart of it, right? When you're looking after somebody.
So Japan is a country of hospitality spirit.
Yeah.
Because before Japan called Japan, Japan named wa means harmony. So our deep inside of spirit is balanced hospitality, very calm.
Yeah.
Warm welcome is the deep inside of our spirit.
But it's literally at the heart of the culture then.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very special. So a drink that's become, I suppose, synonymous with Japanese bartending culture, but has really traveled around the world is the highball.
Highball, yes.
And it's probably the drink that I've drunk the most, have probably made the most, but probably not with the refinement that has happened as the art of making a Japanese highball.
So
I would love to see it.
this size,
Yes.
it's been sit in the room temperature.
Okay.
This is from a freezer.
Yeah.
So it looks different, right?
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
If you see the detail, it's really bumpy.
Yes.
So once you pour the soda, it's evaporate.
You're gonna lose the carbonation and the magic.
Exactly. So it has to be, we call it room temperature ice.
Okay.
Cup over. Beautiful cup of beer. If you say highball, it's usually this.
Yeah.
Right? So stir down a little bit. And another very important part is how to pour soda.
Okay.
So try not to have it
Got you.
to when you pour. And fast as possible to hit inside of the glass.
Yeah.
So it's already mixed.
Yes.
You don't really need to stir. So if you stir a lot, it's bad, right?
Yeah.
So it's just gently stir. As you can see, the soda never evaporates.
Yeah.
But once you sip, so lots of bubble inside.
It's magical. I mean, this is to me about what it's about. It's simplicity, but it's such care, and I'm very thankful. We've got to do a high five. Come on. Yes, in-bar high five.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So far, I've been able to experience how Japan makes some incredible produce from its own shores. But I've also learned about how Japan's really skilled at importing something, refining it in their own way, and maybe even making it better than the original. So without much further ado, I'm very excited to introduce you to the world's best pizza. And I'm very sorry for my friends in Italy or New York, but the world's best pizza is here in Japan. Akinuma-san, real pleasure.
Welcome.
Very excited to be here.
Yeah.
What is it that goes into making your pizzas that makes it so special?
Special? No special.
There's no secret behind it.
No secret.
And when you were researching this, I heard you went all around Italy trying to find different styles of pizza and learning from different pizza makers. Was that right?
僕は1994年に、ナポリに勉強に行ったんですけども、それで私は食べることと見ることに全てを中心にしました。だから結局僕は全く勉強しない。ただナポリで食べる、見る、食べる、見る。それだけです。
Was it that you just loved pizza? Is that what you wanted to then travel around and experience? Is that why you went and ate all of these different types of pizza?
違います。ガールフレンドのためです。
She loved pizza.
Yes.
Oh.
She is Napolitana.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you've created this kind of real deep dive into pizza as a love letter.
Yes.
That's amazing. Luckily for me, Kakinuma-san's quest for love ended in him becoming one of the most skilled pizza makers in all of Japan. I really wish you all could smell this at home because the aroma coming off this is unreal. This is where the kind of simplicity of ingredients shines. It is simply the combination of the dough, tomatoes, olive oil, mozzarella, and basil. Come on. Oishikata desu. Subarashi.
ありがとうございます。
It's the simple ingredients coming together greater than the sum of its parts. It's to me the thing I love about cocktails, like real kind of like great craftsmanship. It's not about ingredients nobody else can get or things that have been done with a skill or a piece of equipment that nobody else can kind of ever touch. It's the care, it's the attention, it's the passion. It's pouring everything in to making those simple things shine. It's flour, water, salt, there's some cheese and basil, tomatoes. But this is one of the best things you'll ever taste. This is the world's best pizza. I am defiantly making the comment. There is no contender to this. Of course, the high end of your omakase sushi or your multi-course kaiseki meals are magical in Japan. But actually, you can travel here very affordably. And some of the most unexpected places to get very delicious things are the convenience stores. They work like a regular corner shop, but they're very different here. And actually, they're a great alternative to getting your hotel breakfast or whether you just need a really delicious snack. So we didn't actually get the permit to be able to film inside, lol, but it's full of delicious things. So I'm gonna run in and pick up some snacks. Sorry it took a while. It's very easy to get distracted by the very delicious things that are in the 7-Eleven. So what you can pick up from the convenience stores is these perfectly balanced highballs. Canned RTDs, ready to drinks. They've been making these in Japan for decades, and they are excellent. These are perfectly carbonated, perfectly balanced, but the must is the egg sandwich. I definitely think the Lawson's ones are worth the hype, but one of the key things to be able to get is the teas. Now, it's kind of presumed that one of the reasons why the Japanese live so long is partly the fermented foods and the connection to nature, but it's also the fact that they drink a liter of green tea per person on average every single day. It's a great way to be able to have a non-alcoholic alternative alongside a great base if you do want to make a little cocktail. I love non-alcoholic drinks, or boozeless cocktails as we always refer to them in the bars. So when we've looked to be able to create a non-alcoholic drink, I want to look to some of these powerhouse ingredients. And one of my favorites from Japan was some black loose leaf tea. So instead of brewing this hot, we've brewed it as a cold tea. And this is a wonderful thing just to be able to enjoy, but it's an incredible ingredient to be able to add to your cocktails. Simply steep the tea, cold water in the fridge, strain it out. To marry with that, we've looked to bring in some other aromatics. And we've simply cooked this all together. So brewed this part hot, and it's pulling out some of those added aromatics, but it brings this kind of wonderful complexity to marry against our tea. So to serve this out, we're gonna simply stir this over some ice. Much like we would open up our other cocktails, lots of ice, get it really chilled down. So 1 part of our botanical syrup to 3 parts of our cold brew tea. And then we're gonna strain this over a nice block of ice in a rocks glass. I'm gonna do a little coin of orange to sit on the top alongside a fresh cherry. So this wonderful kind of aromatic sipper. So a great thing to be able to cheers with your friends so you feel included at the table. Doesn't matter if you're not drinking. Cheers. It's always magical being back in Japan. And when I first visited here 17 years ago, it's remained my favorite place to travel to in the world. But this trip's been particularly memorable, being able to meet with producers and really get into the deeper philosophy of the culture. When I was chatting with Ueno-san, he talked about the fact that the ancient term for the country was wa. And that philosophy, this approach of deep thinking, this idea of balance, permeates through everything that we've seen, from whiskey making at Yamazaki, the shoyu production, through to, of course, the food and the cocktails as well. And so it's wonderful to think on, how do we summarize some of those things? How do I pay homage to that real deep thinking, but this kind of simplistic, stripped back approach through trying to create a cocktail in honor of everything that we've seen? We're in the beautiful Virtu bar at the Four Seasons in Tokyo. Not only is it celebrated as one of the best bars in Asia, but one of the best bars in the world. And I can't think of a more wonderful setting for being able to craft the cocktail inspired by our travels around Japan. So the heart of this is going to be a highball serve. It's one of my favorite styles of cocktails, something that's both a wonderful way to open out a blended whiskey, giving you something that reveals all those layers of flavor, but it's also the ideal drink to be able to share with friends. So we managed to pick up some of these incredible fruits, and it might not be that you're able to pick up wonderful, fanatically grown Japanese fruits from wherever you are. But as long as you're picking up something that's local or seasonal, it's going to be an incredible accent to what we're building into the cocktail. So within this, we were able to pick up some of these last season grapes and these dried persimmon. These are wonderful, these are semi-dried. So it's concentrated some of the flavor, but we're just going to cut these up and get them ready to go into our infusion. So over this, we're going to layer our whiskey of our Hibiki Japanese Harmony and simply pour that over the fruit. So 4 hours have passed. All we're going to do is simply strain out the mass, putting it through a tea strainer. So all it'll be is this wonderful accented version of our Hibiki Japanese Harmony. Very delicious. So what we want to be able to do is harmonize the whiskey with some of these little accents around it. And we're going to do this as a bigger batch. And as we're in the beautiful Virtu bar of the Four Seasons, we've gone a bit extra on our carafe. But essentially, you just need a vessel, a jug, a pitcher, something that allows you to mix all the ingredients together that are much easier to measure when you're doing them at large scale. We have our beautiful shoyu from Sawai-san, made in the traditional Kyoto barrels. It's not there to taste salty. It's not going to necessarily be like a soy sauce. It's rich, so you don't need too much, but a teaspoon covers us for 10 serves. We're going to use 70 mils, just some sugar syrup. Now, this is sugar simply dissolved in some water. We're also going to use a little bit of Fino sherry, so a dry style of sherry, nothing that's going to bring any sweetness. It actually brings this wonderful crisp olive note. And then the heart of our drink, so our wonderful infused whiskey. We're simply going to decant this into the bottle. Woohoo, didn't break the carafe. So what we then have is this beautiful batch bottle. But what's really beautiful about this is this idea of the importance of gifting and how there's this real single moment in time about being able to gift somebody something, where you can write your own little greeting, something on there that nods to this sense of personalization, this gift that can be something to pass on to somebody, talks about that sense of hospitality, that care, those details, but it's personal. So we have our beautiful bottle, but we're going to serve it much in the way that we were taught by Ueno-san. So we're going to build this in our very beautiful, clean Japanese highball glass. Layer in lots of these large cubes. That's going to keep things at their freshest. And we're going to stir, making sure that we have everything in contact. And as Ueno-san taught us, just being able to pop that on the side. So we have some very cold, very crisp soda. You want there to be that bright effervescence, that real sparkle to it. And as Ueno-san taught us, pour with confidence on these things. So we're going to pour our very cold soda water, and then we're just going to pull the ice to give a little lift, make sure everything's incorporated and ready to drink. And so just being able to give a little bit of kind of a greener accent, we have some wonderful bamboo herb leaf from Japan. And this drink is really there to be able to bring people together. Highballs, to me, are ideal for that. They're there to socialize over. They're different as you drink through it. So this is called the Honshu Highball. It celebrates the central island of Japan because we were picking up accents from all over the country. It wasn't just from the whiskey in Kyoto. It was the inspiration of being in Tokyo, learning about the Ginza bartending style. It was some of these ingredients that we picked up along our travels. But the key was to be able to have something that felt like a beautiful celebration of this philosophy and this wonderful, deep thinking approach that is everywhere across the country. It was such a joy to be able to be back here in Japan, and I hope this is a way of trying to summarize all of the amazing things we saw along our trip.
Konnichiwa!
Most unique thing to do in Japan is rickshaw.
Welcome to Nishiki Market!
Ex-Sando's are great.
My favorite bar is local izakaya and drink beer.
The struggles of filming in a place like this.
Not trying the product.
What?